MSG, Matthew Goldstein, if you don't know Matt, has been in the business a long time, has really kind of spends a lot of time going through creating newsletters that talk about kind of what he's seeing, what he's hearing. And what I like about it, and again, he can talk to this if you want to set this up, Matt, but just let me.
I like you doing it, Rob. Rob, I like you doing it.
My preamble for you is like, this isn't Matt reading the trades.
Oh, there's not a single thing I get from a trade.
Yeah, you don't even prescribe to those, right?
No.
But more investor calls and other sources, conversations he's having with his clients, what he's looking at in the data and so forth. And
you also get a lot, Rob, from podcasts, because when people can talk for 20 or 25 minutes, they slip and they tell you something they're not supposed to.
Yep.
Say, oh, there's something interesting right there. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, cool. So Matt, I gave a little bit of the preamble in terms of what you do. You basically were going to be publishing something different, and then obviously the world changed.
Let me just, and people please ask questions instead of just having me talk, and Rob, you can interject as well. So I've been sending out a newsletter for, I think, Rob, like 4 years now, 4.5 years.
Like that, yeah.
It comes out twice a quarter. This is the What I Saw Happen newsletter. It comes out at the end of every quarter, normally typically that Monday or Tuesday. So it's going to go out Monday or Tuesday of next week. I also do a publicly traded company analysis. We listen to like 30's earnings calls, which is going to be an absolute pain in the ass this quarter, because everyone's going to be like, what the hell are they going to talk about? So I'm going to have a different spin on that. Like typically they were getting easy. I know what to listen for. Now it's going to be total chaos.
Well, if I could just real quick interject. So listen to what he just said. He's listening to all of those calls that we all could, maybe even in some cases should, but he does that. And then he
30 calls,
together.
They're about an hour each. I listen to all of them, read about them, and then write something up about them.
And amazing things like the trade desk, all those things. Of course, again, yeah, all that's very interesting to see where that's going to go. But this is more of what you see happening. And again, like, this isn't just media. This is obviously what you're overall thinking about.
Again, I spent 75 days of Q1 taking notes pretty much every single day for what else will happen in Q1. Then the coronavirus kicked in and everything I wrote became obsolete overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's the same for every single business. Whatever they did became obsolete.
Yeah.
So what I did then is I took a different take here, unprecedented uncertainty. And I sort of did this in 2 weeks instead of my typical, 90 days. And this is going out Monday. And instead of what I saw happen, it sort of turned into what I see happening in the next 3 to 6 months, right? Sort of a different take on it. Because what happened is I don't even know what they are, 5 or 10 or 15 of this whole thing of being locked down. I got really depressed. I'm like, the world is over. Stock market's going to go to zero. What the hell? And then when I started putting down here what companies, industries do well and what do not do well, I sort of had a little, smile on my face. I realized it's a handful of companies and verticals that do really poorly and change fundamentally, but the other ones I think do okay, and sooner than later.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we have to, compare to, say, the Great Depression and other the idea that we have this technology that lets us even do this means business can, we can transact. Right. It's just a lot of things are going to be.
But I'll take you to here, and as I wrote this the first time, instead of industries that need government bailouts, I basically had industries that go under, stock goes to 1, and I sort of softened it up to make it a little more positive instead of reading negative news all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are my 9 categories that I think go through fundamental changes. And and if you have any questions, raise your hand or ask.
Yeah.
Like hotels, down 90%.
Right.
Over them until this gets better. Not sure when that'll be. I also think hotel middlemen, Expedia, Priceline, I don't think they add any real value to the industry.
Right.
I think they just take away margin from the company that's actually making the product. And I think you might see a whole change in middlemen going forward. Right.
Yeah, even just with this, right, it sparks ideas of, now if I am going to be booking something there's almost again a relationship between any company I transact with, personally or professionally, where I kind of want to connect to make sure everything's working, because the middlemen obscure whether, like,
Well, and it's
right?
different. Like Google's a middleman, but that's necessary because you couldn't figure out where to find content without Google. Expedia doesn't really help because if I want to book a flight, I have 3 airlines. I can go to those 3 airlines, check it out. And then Expedia is not taking the 20%, which hurts the airline, which means I get poor service,
Right, right.
which
Yeah.
I think middlemen have a hard time. And the
Matt,
perfect, go ahead.
the
I'm
one
sorry,
thing I
guys.
would say on that, because I've thought a lot about those things, and the only area I think that they add value, not for a business perspective, but purely from a consumer perspective, is that and Orbitz has done it pretty well, is their reward system, which is like an age-old thing, right? That's not like, nothing about that is new, at least for not for airlines, right? So I don't book any airlines through any of those things, but I pretty much book all of my hotels through
Hotels.com.
And you haven't found going to Hilton or Marriott Voyage, whatever it's called, just better for you, better points, and you're okay?
Well, see, I'm a cheap guy, so I usually don't stay at Hilton or Marriott.
What if you're staying at a Hampton Inn or a Hilton Garden Inn or whatever?
Yeah, they changed. So I play those points, but I found that when I do other stuff, Orbitz, that's the only value that they bring. The other thing that they started doing, I thought was kind of cool, was like they have their different tiers now, and I think Uber basically took exactly what they were doing and copied it, which again, it's nothing new, but it's just a reward system where the more that you book in a given period of time, the more rewards you get.
The one thing I should also add about everything I write here, like, I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know everything, but I think this also facilitates good conversation for people to have.
Yeah, I was saying I completely agree with you. I have long searched for what value they add. That is the only value I can find.
Yeah. I think the one thing on this list that the movie theaters, again, I just think that it's, what, they'll respond in some way, but their seating is going to go out the door into much. I mean, again, like, there's a part of obviously of what is short term, what's long term with this. I think there's going to be some cultural changes that we have where a little bit more distance is going to be.
One of my overall arching themes here, Rob, is you're going to see an acceleration of trends that were happening already.
Yeah.
Right. Like the physical newspaper has been dying for years. I'm not going to get it for 3 months. I'm going to get used to not having it. I won't need it again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Malls have been dying for 10 years, except for some that cater to food. This will then facilitate those, and it might be a better thing, and it just might be hard, and then we'll figure out what's next.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this: trade show and industry events is something I'm going to work very hard on to get them out of this list, right? And they're going to change.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, for you, like, you have to figure out a way to change them and make them so much more valuable where it's not a boondoggle anymore. Like, so here's an example. Here's an example I had for trade shows, right? So you go to a trade show, Rob, and there's what, 300 people there?
Yes.
Right? And let's say there's 10 people I want to meet. And let's say I tell, hey, Rob, I want to meet these 10 people. Okay? What you'll need to do in your next trade show is you'll need to find a facilitator like me. And my job is to find that person who paid a lot of money and make sure I personally introduce him to the 10 people, spend 30 seconds to 3 minutes with that introduction, then walk away.
Yeah, yeah. And
stuff like that wasn't happening.
Right, where you just kind of let it go. No, you're right. There's some things there. The white glove service goes to the next level on those.
Well, that's also with, go back up, retail clothing, right?
Yeah.
Is there a more white glove service? Like you walk into Zara and there's 100 people in there. It might be too much. I walked into Zara because I made an appointment on the Zara app and I have someone walking me through to the 15 things I might like the most. Walk into a dressing room, like that might change the whole model and might be more worthwhile. I hope pharma becomes the new tech. Like, I hope pharma just takes off in this country. Pharma medicine does great things for us. You know, fuck Bezos and Zuckerberg, except for Gates, because Gates basically moved into health, right? And they
Yeah.
just need to like get more love in this country.
Yeah. I think the interesting part is with CPG and DTC is, do I really need sexy brands anymore, or do I just need the product? If I'm going to be at home for the most, like if I'm going to be home till August, do I really need,
We need lots of walking shoes. That's about it.
do I need Axe body spray? No, I don't
No,
need
but someone did tell me that luxury conditioner and shampoos are extremely popular because people still want to feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And I think the ones that's going to be crazy is going to be hair care and dye, like do it yourself.
Yeah. I can't touch that one. So yes, not for me.
Yeah. Sports will be reinvented somehow. They'll figure it out. They're the smartest people out there, the people who run those leagues, as long as their arrogance doesn't get in front of them. I think streaming television is the best value in the world, right? $15.99 a month for Netflix. I was hypothesizing, what if Netflix raised their price to $24.99 a month?
Right.
They'd crush revenues.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, what's the one thing people need more than anything right now? It's Netflix. And at $15.99 a month, it's a steal for whatever the price is.
I think the Disney Plus numbers, once they release those, is gonna just freaking blow up.
Well, talking about Disney, you know, Disney's 4 major businesses, 3 of them are horrendous.
Closed.
The parks, dead. Movies, no one goes to theater, no big releases. And ESPN, dead.
But on both of those, what if they put in advertising all of a sudden? What if Netflix adds advertising? It shouldn't be that difficult for them to do. That's a huge revenue stream with a captive audience.
Yeah, I think they're better off just raising prices.
Scott, I actually had that as a note and was thinking about it. And there's a part of like, there's an opportunity for them to sweep in, except if buying is down right now, they're not necessarily coming at the right time to go and grab it. But if Netflix has been sitting on this, and obviously if they went into doing advertising, that you just watch the percentage of the overall spend that goes right that route is huge. But same time, they're winning with subscription, and I agree. Add another buck every month. And
well, they should say, you know, if you use the service more than X, you're in a higher tier. We're charging an extra $3. Okay, fine.
Right.
Okay, so I think DTC home improvement, like, holy crap, you know, I got to do something in my garage or my basement because we're all home too much. And I think large advertising supported businesses, those that have big coffers, cash in the bank, I think they do okay. Right. So when you look at that, of those 40 categories I have 6 or 7 having a really hard time, but none of them are the biggest advertisers anyway.
But I think there's a lot to be thought about with what happens with education. I think the overall value of a college education.
Oh, I have that down here. I think that goes away. I think that's like, what the hell am I paying for now?
Right. But who does it well that's the part, like, so, it'll just be really interesting to see how education evolves through all of this. I know most of you are probably watching and learning in your house as it is of kids trying to figure out like how to learn. And by the way, I've got a teacher in the house and she's trying to figure out how to teach in this environment. And then of course the new normal. And then of course, what does that look like? Right. So when we're back to some kind of unpause, that was your phrase, right? I'm going to spin up here real quick. What was it? You call it the great pause.
Yeah, I think it's the great pause of 2020. That's what's happening.
That's awesome.
Great phrase.
Right?
Phrase.
Well, I mean, it's in reality, it's not awesome, but the phrase is great.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay, and then I have like the most important companies in the world right now: internet providers and phone companies. Amazon, they're going to grow their market share. Netflix and Disney Plus, and then pharma. And again, here, the next Bezos. And then when you listen to like a CEO of J&J talk, you're like, oh my God, we need more of those people in this world.
Yeah. I'd add power.
Well, there's also part of this is also, if you want to decide what business to get into or do next, you have to sort of think about these essentials going forward. because you realize how important it is no matter what.
Right. Right.
So then we have marketing in the new world, right? You know, you can't provoke demand, you can't fill right now, toilet paper, etc. All these brands are trying to figure out the appropriate creative and be sensitive about what's going on. You saw initially that every single marketer cut all their marketing and then use their CRM file to send emails out every single day. You're like, what the hell? I don't care.
Yeah.
I think we get creativity just blossoming now. You're starting to see it a little bit more and more, but it'll happen, where it'll be amazing. Some really bold marketers are going to try to take share, assuming they got cash in the bank. When I see that in a bunch of categories, like in insurance, like one insurance company is spending way more, one's less. Like, is this a time to take share?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, there was one I was going to bring up later, but I think this is a good point for it, is Beachbody and all the what was that? Sean T. That was the guy that did not P90X, but one of those.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, yeah.
Have you guys seen the ad spend that they're putting into social right now? It's insane. Absolutely insane. I wrote up a little piece on it either yesterday or today, and yeah, I'm seeing they're going. I'm seeing the heavy on Facebook, heavy on Instagram, and I mean it's like super saturated. I've got to imagine that it's the old direct response television marketing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I think the one part of that, just to build off that, is the small business connection. So I have 2 gym memberships. One is Orange Fitness, and I've got one that's just a local one here down the street, right? Orange Theory has changed their model, and they're doing virtual classes, and they have the scale, and they do all that stuff. That's great. The 2 women that own the gym that I'm signed up for, they're delivering food to me they've done their deal with healthy food provider in the space. They're actually helping deliver that, then doing Zoom, and you're watching them figure it out, and you're just going like, I can't root for these 2 more. Like, brand loyalty, I will probably be paying that gym membership well beyond my years.
That's what I was saying. They're figuring it out. They're creative. They're going to make it happen, and you're going to allow that, and you're going to stick with them when you're done.
100%.
Yeah.
And what, and that's again something that we, depending on who you are and in your role, can help foster that, right? Those are the kind of things and creative things. So we've done with golf is we've reached out to all the places that have caddies and stuff like that or aren't making any money, and we're saying, if you do anything related to that, we want to know that story, tell that story, as well as connect them up so that people can contribute or whatever. I mean, these are all, again, your ability to pick brands and how you interact with them is strong now. And by the way, because we didn't mention this up front, Matt's going to be sending this out next week, and as you can see, he's actually altering it as we go, and he will do that. So next week this comes out, and we'll make the recording available, except for Melvin's part. We're going to take Melvin's part out.
Yeah.
One thing I heard is like Open Table there. They're allowing you to make now reservations at grocery stores. Think about that. Think about going to Costco or BJ's or Target and make a reservation. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Right. Now, technology, I don't know if you guys watched the Bill Gates TED Talk.
Yeah.
Like, he predicted the whole friggin' thing 5 years ago.
I remember watching it 5 years ago and being
now I personally blame Bill Gates a little, because if he knew this was happening, he should have shouted louder. Right? Like Bloomberg spent how much money? $500 million?
Yeah.
Gates could have done the same thing.
It's true.
Right? So, like, he believed it, but he didn't really believe it. Otherwise, he could have done more.
Yep.
I think all TVs are going to have cameras on it soon. Like, I'd rather be zooming this on my TV than on my PC. I think touchscreen goes away. Like, every time I touch something now, you get a little gross.
Huh.
Like, where's the voice activated, right, Scott? Where's my voice activated?
I think on the cameras on the TV, that's a bit of a generational thing. I would rather watch the TV any day of the week, but I've got a 9-year-old and she picks up that fucking little iPad and she'd rather watch everything on that thing.
Oh, but
Yeah.
I just meant having the TV with a camera, and I could Zoom with my parents and have it on for an hour or two, something like that. Sort of like the Facebook portal.
Right. Right.
That's interesting. Some of the things you're saying, like you don't think that human interaction is going to go back to normal, huh?
Oh, it will. This is 6 to 12 months. I think it does. I think it takes a while, but I think we're going to see a lot of changes.
That's good. I don't need your.
I think temperature checks become really common.
Yeah.
I think the big companies with a lot of money in the bank, especially Facebook, so Facebook and Google knew how bad this is before any of us did, because they had offices in Asia. Right, so they saw this coming. I think that
people are posting,
yeah, I think that Facebook and Google are going to have their employees sent home with a thermometer. Every day they do a temperature check, and if they have a temperature, they're not coming in the office for the next 2 weeks, and they're going to be okay with this. And I also think that Apple will have a thermometer in the phone and/or watch in the next year or two.
So the idea of Ferris Bueller calling in sick for one day of school, he'd actually technically be out for 2 weeks. Sorry.
Right, and don't forget, people try to hack the system and try to get the thermometer up, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody's okay with, like, if you're sick, don't come in.
Right.
Right. So I think the government's not going to
Hallelujah.
do that. Right. The government's not going to do that, but the public companies with all this money and care about their employees who can work from home are going to we're going to freaking do this ourselves.
Right. Right.
Well, on the phone with the app, I will say that so my wife is on the tail end of having this thing, and her doctor told her not to go get a test, but one of the things that she told her to watch is she got an app. I forgot the name of it. I can send it around later if you want, but it actually turns on the flashlight and she puts it up against her finger, and it measures apparently very accurately, because in her doctor's office they use that and whatever tool they use in the office, it measures the capillary oxygen level. And I mean, it was like $5 on the phone.
Right. So I think what'll happen is we'll do that every morning, and we'll be okay with it because it's going to make sure we're not going to have this freaking thing happen again.
Right. Yep.
Interesting.
Right.
Sorry, I'm interrupting again, but since it's on the screen, the one last thing I'll say about the Netflix raising prices versus the advertising, the one incentive I would say that Netflix and Hulu, Hulu already has advertising, but Netflix would have, I think it would kill a lot of the TV companies. TV advertising would be, I think, decimated if Netflix did this, especially around this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think companies that had cash in the balance sheet look brilliant now. I think companies that did stock buybacks are idiots.
Yeah, but guys, keep one thing in mind. Netflix does not air the daily news.
Not yet.
Understood.
Yeah. Well, not yet. I was doing it, but prove me wrong. But just yeah.
Netflix. The next 3 shows Netflix will do will be a news channel. They'll do a CNBC, and they'll do an ESPN type show. And then you don't need cable anymore.
Well, and then to add to that, I think the Netflix and what they're doing to the movie studios, that's just going to be accelerated because they're already starting to delay premieres and launching of movies or putting them out through other channels.
That's what I said. Right. Everything that was going bad will be accelerated during this time.
Right.
Boring companies might be the new places to work going forward. Right. Chase, 3M, GE, Honeywell, Walmart, United Health, etc. Right. Cheap capital, great business will be started. Companies can make lots of risks now and just, say, hey, it was COVID. Right. Do something they never want to do before. Again, middlemen. I think many large companies are going to hire a chief epidemiologist and a head of pandemic strategy, right, going forward, and they'll have teams.
But wouldn't that be like a subset under maybe the chief risk officer or strategic officer?
Yeah, but I think they're going to figure that out. A big company's I need to have this better the next time around.
And Chris, to that point, right, there'll be a part of the press release that says I have a chief of pandemic strategy is going to be part of the PR that goes with hiring someone in that role.
Yeah, I just like chief epidemiologist officer because it's CEO. That's the real CEO of the company. It's right now, who do you want running the country? Fauci or anyone else?
Right.
I think some people get healthier at home and others just get the quarantine 15 as it's called now.
I'm working
cooking
on
at
it.
home becomes the new normal.
Yeah.
So we all need second refrigerators now, right? So we go shopping. I think vacations are going to be more local than international. You're going to drive places.
Well, that's something that we've actually been kind of talking about, personally and professionally, is when things start to get better, will there be like a huge surge in people just because they can get out, they're going to go everywhere, or are people going to be just more appreciating their local?
I think it might be the have and the have-nots, the young kids or anyone who's had it already before and now is immune. So that'll be interesting. And then what do? You get like a big S on you that says, I've already had it?
Yeah.
That gets really complicated.
Well, if they're doing testing, you could have the antibody. If they have the antibody test, that's something that could be part of the whole travel process.
Yep. I love that grocery stores have senior hours. Hopefully like that stays forever.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? They make reservations, they go, and they're there from 8 to 9 and all the food's there and they get whatever they want. And I think people pick places to live based on the amount of hospital beds per capita as you get older.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Right?
I need to think about that.
Right? Like, where do you want to be? Maybe New York City has the most, I don't know, but you want to be in probably some remote area with a great hospital that you're going to be taken care of. I think the U.S. birth rate decreases and divorce rate increases.
We won't be doing a poll on that question. We'll leave everyone.
Local news will emerge really nicely from this, right? Because a lot of us are checking that more than ever.
Yeah.
It's a great time to have a dog.
All right, let's wrap up. Any last things here? Barter.
Yeah,
yeah.
And what do you think if?
Just go to the bottom ones real quick, right? Truck drivers are essential. Workers are essential business, are the unsung heroes, and doctor and nurses are our new military.
Which I think leads to possibly that change to education will also be where we value certain skills. Those essential workers right now are the ones that we've always underpaid, and the hedge fund manager we've always overpaid. And there's a bit of maybe some correction that comes from that. Teachers as well. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so MSG, thank you. First of all, free to have a conversation, but thank you for that particular part